From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with huge news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022, your housing market crash of 2022, your stock market crash, and the latest details on that recession coming next year. In this incredible recording, we go over those four stimulus checks which have landed in every U.S. state. You're only going to see them on this channel because I personally found them for the viewership of this channel. That four stimulus check in every U.S. state is huge, up to $80,000. Step one, subscribe. Step two, become a member. And over this 1 hour broadcast, stay to the very end, we'll go over those incredible checks for you. Single, married, with children, without children, rent, own, I got a check for you. It's coming up late in this recording. But we have breaking news on all fronts today. Stock, housing, and also recession. As we go into a big Memorial Day weekend, we had the Chinese retail revenue slump hitting dramatically. Why is the Chinese market down so dramatically? It's all because of us. Stocks are up today, but investors are gauging a new report that says there is carnage on the horizon. You heard me right. Those very scary words are coming up later in this recessionary report of this recording. We had some great numbers today, but we also had some easing of those inflationary pressures. The core producer index number released earlier today was lower than expected, down from its 5.2% raise the month before at only 4.9%. I'll the latest details in today's recording. Then we go to the auto sales. Auto sales plummeted dramatically as the retailers believe that they can still get higher price points for those cars. Untrue. I'll go over the latest details on that and why the auto industry is already in recession. The housing industry, in my opinion, is also in recession. The latest details on those housing numbers released early today are not good. And then we turn to student loan debt forgiveness. A series of groups are very angry at the President of the United States because of a new report out today that signals exactly what I've been reporting. Over the last 2 months, I've been saying the president's going to do $10,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. Well, a report today confirms my reporting once again. All the latest details on what the reaction is to that news of $10,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. Then we'll go to that SS300. It's a big day with so much money at issue. Step one, subscribe. Step two, become a member. And step three, stay with me. Over this 1 hour broadcast, we have a lot of checks for you. It's Afternoons, and it all starts right now. And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And if you've just found LA, let me tell you what you're watching here on this incredible, beautiful afternoon of Memorial Day weekend. What you're watching is the most comprehensive analysis of where your economy is, where it's going, and how to get huge checks in your wallet today. This is what LA would be delivering over this 1 hour broadcast of Afternoon starting right now. We start with the big surprise as a great series of checks are in every U.S. state. A fourth stimulus check is landing in every U.S. state, and they're landing by direct deposit when you do something. And what you do, step one, you subscribe. Step two, you become a member. And step three, you stay with me because we're going to go over all those incredible checks, which I personally found for you on the request of the viewership of this channel back in March, and they are still paying out. Upwards of $80,000 of checks, single, married, on benefits like SSI or SSDI. They're for you. You deserve these great checks. I got them for you. You're not going to see them anywhere else in the American recording right now. And they are huge checks. Step one is to become a member. Step two, to get that newsletter. And step three, stay with me. They're coming up later in this recording. But first, we're going to start with the latest details on the Build Back Better Act that is currently in the finals days of negotiations between Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin in the Senate. They're in the tow truck. They're driving the tow truck. It's right at the edge of the finish line. And the incredible provisions that are in there are likely to survive with the exception of a few of them. There are three classes and three add-ons of checks in that Build Back Better Act that would pay you $15,000 to $80,000 on top of the existing, on top of, in addition to, in supplement to those incredible checks that are in every U.S. state right today that I'm getting you late in this recording. The Build Back Better Act has three classes and three add-ons, but some checks would not survive, in my opinion. Where am I gauging my analysis from? from the comments by Joe Manchin over the last year. He specifically said he would vote against anything in Build Back Better Act that increases Medicare. So, dental, vision, hearing, expanding the eligibility age of Medicare down to 55 from where it is 65 right now. That's likely not to survive the negotiations. Also, likely not to survive is paid leave. That was a provision Joe Manchin was very emphatic against. It was originally out of Build Back Better Act. Nancy Pelosi then put it in, and that is likely not to survive. The negotiations is ramping up very quickly because the midterm elections are around the corner and because they see you're in economic struggles right now and you need those incredible checks. We'll go over more about those checks in prime time on Evenings LA tonight, one at a time, every check that you need to know. But what we're also going to look at, of course, is the equation of getting it done before the midterm elections. Now, let's turn to the other part of the Build Back Better Act, which is at issue, the economic reports. The economic reports, whether it's corporate America or whether it's economy, is what gauges Build Back Better Act over the line. It's almost like a tow hitch yanking the tow truck over the finish line itself. And we have a series of economic data that came out today, and what did it say? Here we go. First of all, stocks were up relatively good today, as a core number called Core Producer Consumption Expenditures Price Index, the CPIE, was released today and it rose at 4.9% in the month of April, down from 5.2% the previous month of March. This is interesting. So it may signal that inflation is soothing off a little bit. I don't want to say cooling down. It's more like it's soothing down. This is a number that this is a benchmark that the Federal Reserve actually uses to determine whether to raise inflation or raise interest rates or not to battle inflation. Tom Martin, Senior Portfolio Manager at Globalt, says we're taking a breather here and we need some adjustments to allow that. Investors were happy with this news, and this came as Ultra Beauty, the retailer that sells beauty products, up 9% today on good earnings reports, and Gap, however, on the other side, slumped down 8%. Also today, the consumer appears to have a barbell approach to spending. Low-end necessities and high-end experience luxury items are doing fine, says Wells Fargo analyst Christopher Harvey. My takeaway, it's a lot more complicated. It's a lot more complicated. On Thursday, we had Dollar General and Dollar Tree report really good earnings, and they were up nearly 30%. A little too much? I think it's a little bit too much. I think the market just looking for really good news and grabbing onto it when they shouldn't. Why? A new report out today said there is a major report being circulated in Silicon Valley that says be careful for venture capitalists because they're expecting economic carnage, that's the quote, carnage, later this year. They expect this economy really to go down dramatically. The stock market is down 26% at the moment. That's a bear market environment. But if we go into recession, a bear market and recession is down 46%. So we have a long way down to go. These various retailers need to start balancing out the macro narrative. Well, the part of the problem with the retail numbers, and certainly that's what they're looking at with Build Back Better Act, is when you look at the retailers, the news that came out in the last 2 weeks confuses a lot of people. Is it because the consumer's not buying? Is it because the product was wrong? Is it because the product's price is too high? There's a lot of things going on, and the complication of it helps Build Back Better Act because no one can say there's one definitive situation happening with those retailers. When you see in the last 2 weeks when Target and Walmart plummeted, and then Macy's and Nordstrom surge, you may say it's just a different type of consumer. It's a little bit more complicated than that. And we'll have more about that tonight on Evenings LALATE in prime time. Auto sales, here we go. Over the last few months, I've been predicting a series of things. One, I said the housing market is in recession already. Second, that the auto market is in recession as well. Well, here we go. We have breaking news today on the auto numbers, and these auto numbers are not good. The average per car profit at a dealership this year is up nearly $3,000. So it's $2,700 last year, is up $5,000 this year, but that has caused buyers to not buy. Interesting. So what's going on is an all-time drop in sales of new cars at the same time that the inventory has slumped and the price has increased. We're looking at pretty bleak. It's going to be. I'm going to be very straightforward about it. Says Ivan Drury. He says his numbers are very bad. He is one of the senior managers of Edmunds. It's getting very hard for people to get a new car with the features they want and they're willing to pay. And the elevated price point is more than people want to pay, says President of JD Power. The takeaway is, here you go. You gotta manage this economy right. And the auto salesmen are not. What are they doing? They're not ordering enough cars on purpose so that there's less cars on the showroom floor. And then what are they doing with the cars they have? Increasing the price and sticking it to you. Is it working? No. Consumers are not buying their cars. They see exactly what the retailers are doing, not ordering enough of the cars, then increasing the price on the cars to give them not $1,000 profit as they had last year, but now $5,000 profits. Buyers are not buying. Does this sound familiar? It does. It's exactly what's happening in the housing market. The housing market crash of 2022 exemplifies exactly what's happening in the auto industry. And this happened no less than a week ago when we learned with those housing builders numbers. The housing builders are seeing higher costs from lumber and labor. And what do? Raise the price of the sale of the homes. Did the buyer buy? No. Did the buyer want to offset that higher mortgage rate? No. And what did the home builders say? The home builders said, we have demand. They're just not buying. Nonsense. They do not have demand because no one's going to pay those price points. And that data came in today. This is also breaking news. This data, folks, there's a lot of it going into a Memorial Day weekend. I told you we're going to have a lot of data. The data in on the housing numbers were bad. The first time in over a year, we saw the slashing of prices of home sales like we've never seen before. Let's go over all the data at issue. First, the Chinese companies are taking major hits today because of the impact of COVID's subvariant Omicron has really stifled companies like Alibaba and Tencent and JD.com. They are now posting their lowest growth numbers since the start of the pandemic. That's number one. Then we have certain companies that have not been able to manage growth. We saw that this last week and manage supply chain disruption, whether it is companies like Abercrombie & Fitch, Walmart, Target, not managing the inventory right and getting it late and having winter clothing in the thick of summer, and not going to work, or thick of spring. Then the auto salesmen, as you saw just right now, what are they doing? They are increasing the price of the cars with less cars on the lot, and it's not working. And here comes the gasoline. Consistent narrative. Here we go again. The national price of gasoline this Memorial Day weekend is surging up to $4.60 a gallon, and that's a 40% increase year to date. Are people driving? They will not be driving as far as they originally would, says a series of reports. Patrick DeHaan says, head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy. I don't think as many people are going to hit the road, and if they do, a good portion will be stay at home. They're not going to pay these higher prices. This is what you and I know, and this is, as a lot of analysts keep on saying, no, the consumer is spending. They're not spending. They're not going to spend the money. There was a lot of reports that came out this week that talked about the 90-day out. Who's been saying that? I have. It's all 90 days out. We're all talking about this 90 days out. The true impact of all the supply chain disruption, all these changing economic measures is going to really hit 90 days out. And that major report out of Silicon Valley is using the words carnage. Am I that bleak? Well, I got to tell you, it's not going to hit yet. But I got to love my viewers. You know why I love you so well? Is because you're the eyes and ears that I am not, and that analysts on Wall Street are not. Let's be very frank. I don't have time in my given day to be standing in Walmart or be shopping in the floors of Target. I don't go in the stores that often. I just don't have time. You do. And when you're in the stores or when you're shopping, you see things I don't see. And what have you viewers been saying? LALATE, I went into Walmart yesterday, one viewer said, and there was literally no store merchants. They had laid them all off, and now they're using the scanners when you check out. Another viewer saying, I went into another one of the big box retailers. Everyone got laid off. Another one said, my son or daughter works at one of those smaller big box retailers. Everyone got laid off in the last 2 weeks. Here we go. This is what we talk about inflation. This is what we talk about labor. You see it before I can report it. You see it before Wall Street sees it. If you have a nice, cushiony analyst who's sitting in his beautiful home in Boca Raton telling you what he thinks is happening at Walmart when he's not actually in the floor of Walmart stores, he doesn't know. A guy sitting in front of a surfboard, I don't really know what's happening in Macy's department store. I haven't been inside a Macy's department store for 10 years. So I really don't feel it like you see exactly what's happening. That is why the carnage 30 days out, 90 days out is very at issue. Federal Reserve's core preferred inflationary rate number came in at 4.9% in April compared to 5.2% the month before. But was there increase of prices? Yes. So the price of the food and the energy is still there. Excluding food and energy, which increased 6.3% in April from a year ago. You think you can afford that? Absolutely not. There was also deceleration from 6.6% from the pace before, but there was still an increase on some numbers. So this is where it gets very interesting. I had told you back in March, you can't afford a $4 gasoline at the pump. You can't afford a $4 gallon of milk at the supermarket in March. And I said it's not sustainable after March. Folks, we're going into June. We're going into June. And this is not rocket science. These numbers are not sustainable. What we saw the last week, or at least this week, is a lot of analysts saying, hey, the consumer is just, they have a lot of discretionary spending. They have a lot of discretionary spending, and they're going out and they're spending it really well. They have all this pent-up stimulus from last year, and they're just spending and spending and spending and spending and spending. It's really nice for a guy that's sitting in a very cushiony $5 million Boca Raton mansion, appearing by a Zoom on a broadcast channel saying, hey, everyone has a lot of money to spend. That's untrue. That's untrue, and that's what the analysts are now seeing. That type of analysis just wrong. This week, when Dollar General and Dollar Tree reported corporate earnings, everyone's thought that the low-income consumer has a lot of money to spend. No, it's a lot more complicated than that. What's at issue is they're managing their inventory better. They're managing their inventory better. Who's going to take the hit on this one? Small business. Small business will absolutely really plummet. Because if Walmart and Target can't manage their inventory, do you think a mom and pop can do? No, it's really, really hard. And this is all good news for that Build Back Better Act that has $50,000 to $80,000 of additional checks in there on top of the forcible checks in every U.S. state. We're going to go over those incredible checks later in this recording. But I want to turn to a breaking news story that happened just minutes ago. There are protests right today across the country in different spots because of one issue. And you know what it is if you've seen the news. It is student loan debt forgiveness. Over the last 3 months, I predicted a lot of things. Well, let me take it back a notch. Over the last year, I predicted a lot of things. Every single thing I predicted, I have gotten right. I'm not going to toot my horn, but here I am. I've gotten right on inflation. I've gotten right on GDP. I've gotten right on a lot of items. But I got right on the student loan debt forgiveness. I had said over the last 3 months, the president will be doing $10,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. This was the number he said on the campaign trail, and this was the number that I was predicting would be announced today or this week. I told you last weekend that the president was meeting with advisors and was likely to have an announcement imminent. That was what I told you last weekend. Then, earlier this week, I said the number may not be coming out because he's worried about backlash. Well, here we go. It's exactly like I said it was happening. The president reportedly did meet with individuals, advocates. He did say $10,000. They were unhappy. Then the news of the meetings leaked to one of the major news publications. They ran the story this morning, and guess what? The protest started. The protest basically said $10,000 is a slap in the face. The protests are basically saying the president is slapping in the face. He's doing exactly the number he said on the campaign trail, folks. He never said $50,000. He said $10,000. He previously forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. People who went to work in the nonprofit or public sector after graduation. Individuals whose debts were procured by fraud by the university against them. That was Liz Warren's pitch. That was completely forgiven by him. And then individuals whose debts were in default or put in good standing. That was what happened coming into 2 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said the president's going to do $10,000. Then this last weekend, I said he's going to meet with them and tell them $10,000. And then I said 2 days ago, he's going to hold the announcement to press because there's going to be backlash. Folks, this is where I gotta laugh. I gotta laugh here. This is where you fire Brian Deese. This is where you fire Brian Deese. You know him, the Yaley. This is where you fire Ron Klain, and you get a better group of people in there at the White House. Joe Biden knew he was going to get backlash with $10,000 when he was sworn into office. We had the backlash then. He should have just done $10,000 and gone on with it. Now, 2 years of pent-up frustration is pent up, and now the people who are really angry about $10,000 have had now 2 years to be angry about it. Now they're exploding at the anger of it. Let's take it back, though, that the average, we have new numbers today, the average student loan debt that is being floated at the moment is $30,000. So this is 1/3 of the number at issue. Again, there's no official announcement by the White House. This is a report, but the report is exactly what I've been reporting for 3 weeks. The great news is that a fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. As we go into a beautiful Memorial Day weekend in which I will be recording with you every single day, A forced stimulus check was found by me, not one, but lots of them, in every U.S. state after viewers asked me to find them checks. That's what I do. This is a very, very helpful channel. In March of last year, 2020, this channel launched for me to help people get EIDL grant and EIDL loan and PPP and PUA and FPUC and LWA, going over the applications one at a time with viewers and answering their questions and showing them how to get it and how to apply, and when they get stalled up, then fix it this way and fix it that way. Well, in December 2020, millions of Americans needed checks. Second stimulus was not getting done, just like right now. Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin were negotiating at the time. I know this is Bernie, not Steve Mnuchin, but they were negotiating at the time, and they did not have a deal. Think of the pandemic, December 2020. You needed money. You said, LA, I know you can find me money. Can you find me money? I did. $250,000 for rent and utilities. No one puts an emotional effort in finding you money. I'm emotionally invested that you're financially independent. And that's what I did then. I found it for you and went over with you, and you got those checks. Like Tyrone and his family of four out of Boston got $15,000 for rent from December to February in December 2020. Now, back as we come into March of this year, you and I were watching the Build Back Better Act, not getting done by March of this year, and you needed money. You said to me, LA, can you go find me some money? That's what I do. That's what I do. You don't see this anywhere else. People just read a script and stand in front of a flat screen. I actually make the effort to get you the checks and show you how to get the checks. And that's what I did. In March, I found a series of executive orders by Joseph Biden. Executive orders by Joseph Biden that had sent out forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. And I immediately send, here we go. One after a day, one after another, day after day, checks were starting to be released. And I immediately went on air, said, here it is, put in the newsletter, here it is, go get it. And as more checks became available, I started adding them. I gave them a lettering system, A, B, and then C, and now D. Yes, stay to the very end because we have big excitement about this as well. But this is why you want to become a member to this channel. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these checks. How do you get them? A forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Step 1. Step 2, subscribe to this channel. Step 3, become a member. Step 4, get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. Get that incredible newsletter and then pounce. In that incredible newsletter, I have the check A, check B, and more. I got a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state for you. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over the status of those checks and how for you to get it. Then we'll be going over more about the housing crash of 2022, the stock market crash of 2022, and the recession of 2023. We're going to go over more about this economic data that was released today, the corporate earnings we learned this week, and my insight on why some analysts are just out to lunch. The big analysis and the big money and the big checks for you and the big love come up in the second half of this video. Subscribe, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, and get ready for the second half as we go over those incredible checks. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, I'll see you back in 60 seconds. As America's most beloved show at noon at the midday continues. It's Afternoons LA, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica. on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in the big second half of Afternoons LA. A beautiful day, and I will be recording with you on Memorial Day weekend, so stay with me. We have a lot of breaking news, and I'm hopefully trying to get some of it in today's recording. But tonight on Evenings LA, we'll have the rest of it. A lot of breaking news, and I'm shocked. I mean, just pages and pages of economic data and corporate earnings released minutes ago, and it's big. It all impacts your wallet. But the great news is that for stimulus check is in every U.S. state. We're going to go over how to get those great checks starting right now. Step 1 is subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. And here we go with the 4 stimulus checks starting right now. Before I go into the checks, I want to say something different, which I've never said. I haven't said it in a long time. You may tune into this channel thinking that I'm just reporting the news of checks. No. I'm not here to just report the news of 4 stimulus checks. I'm here to get you checks. There's a big difference. This is a guide that's actually getting people checks. My job on these recordings is to get you checks, not to report the news of the checks. There's a very, very big difference of it. So there's always someone that comes into the live chat that says, I haven't heard, or I haven't seen, or I haven't this, or I haven't that. And then they sort of want to pigeonhole me or describe me as someone that's just reporting the news of 4 stimulus checks. No. I actually get people checks. That's what happened back in March. In March, when viewers said, LA, the 4 stimulus check is not happening with this Build Back Better Act. It's slowing down. They haven't gotten over the finish line. Can you get us some money? Can you get us some 4 stimulus checks elsewhere? I did. By executive order. I took the effort to search high and low, hour after hour, to find checks one after another. Tens of hours of research finding these checks for my viewers. I'm not here for viewers of another channel. I'm not here for viewers of broadcast news or viewers of cable news or print media. I don't own those companies. I have nothing to do with the print media of your local news station. I have nothing to do with the search engine you look up. I'm here for you, my viewer. That's the only people I'm emotionally invested in, you. And when you said I need checks, go find it. I found them for you. And let's go over the incredible great news of all those incredible 4 stimulus checks starting right now. I've given them lettering systems because one after another, A, B, C, D, they overlap, and we're going to go over each of those incredible checks, starting with the first one. But first, let me go over the general eligibility of them. Single, married, with children, without children. SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, yes. Rent or own, I got a check for all of you. One person named Kat, who's a longtime viewer since the very beginning, was in the live chat last night, and she said, LA has always explained when people can get things. And when he says everyone can get it, he means it, and he's absolutely correct. Absolutely. I'm very big on eligibility for items, and that is why I've always been successful with viewers, and you've been successful in getting money, because I always go over the eligibility very specifically for you for all these incredible checks. Let's go over the first one right now. It is $6,500 to $12,000 as a 4 stimulus check. Yes, we're already starting with a massive sum of money. It is called it is a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. It is called the homeowner's grant check. Single individual, $75,000 less. Married couple, $150,000 less. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits. How do you get this? Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. The membership link is at the top of the chat. Pin comment. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP member. Step 3, open that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then go right down to that Check A. There it is. When you see Check A, you click the link and you go and apply. Yes, Check A is an online application. It's very straightforward. So go get it. Good job to everyone who got their Check A. And the last few days, viewers have just been absolutely cleaning up on this channel. Then you're not going to stop there, because you're also going to get a Check B. A Check B is in every U.S. state. It's a $15,000 to $80,000  4 stimulus check, tracking at about $66,000 to $80,000. Single individual, $75,000 less. A married couple, $150,000 less. Go get it. If you're on SSI, SSDI, go get it. How do you get this? This is called the homeowner's grant check. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And step 3, open the newsletter Monday through Friday via the YouTube alerts and go down and apply for Check B. You'll find Check B, obviously, in the newsletter under Check A. Go in there and click the link and go apply. But you're not done there yet. You're also going to get some Check C. This is for my renters. Congratulations for the renters who got big sums of money in the last few days. It's averaging $2,000 a month. Over 12 months, it is an MSC and is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. This incredible money for Check C. How do you get it? Subscribe, become a member, go down the newsletter to find Check C, and there I explain who to call. Yes, for Check C, you're not applying online. I explain to you who you call, what you say, and where you say it. You're going to make about 15 plus phone calls, and it's absolutely incredible. No one knows more about Check C than you, the membership of this viewership of this channel, because we've been doing Check C since, yes, December 2020. That's what we were talking about earlier in this video. It was initially called Purple on this channel. It was third stimulus then, and now it's what I call Check C. Look at the numbers for rent we've gotten. Whoa. Look at the numbers for utilities. Incredible. Upwards of $15,000 for Mark's brother-in-law. Combos, even better. Snap, Mark's brother-in-law's getting $25,000 over 10 years. Look at the combos. Just incredible. See Mark's name there? $32,000. See Nisi's name? $23,000. Nisi keeps on going, getting more money every single few days. She's added $8,000 5 more times. She's in all live chats nightly. She's such a wonderful inspiration to all of us. A spirit of positivity, a spirit of pushing, a spirit of listening, a spirit of advocating. She keeps on going back and getting money. Just a great job you keep on doing, Nisi. God bless you. And here is Mark at $32,000. Well, Mark, I told him to go back more, get more money. He did. He went to $50,000, then to $100,000, then to $166 because he got Check B. Here's Lorraine. She was at 105. Now she's at 120. Again, how do you get that Check C? Very simple. Go down in that membership newsletter and go to where you see Check C and make the effort and go get it. So simple. Stay with me later in this recording because I have a big surprise about another check. But let's recap how you do this with also another little tidbit that people say is really helpful. First, you want to subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss a single video throughout the day because there is so much breaking news. For this video alone, I brought on air about 20 pages of new breaking news notes just for this video. How much of it am I going to be able to cover for this video? Probably a third of it. So I will be covering the rest of it on Evenings LA. That is how much news that is totally different. As the news cycle is changing every 2 hours, you can't miss a single breaking news story on this channel. Number 2, make sure you hit that little bell on the front of this channel. There is a bell that says notifications. You need that for the YouTube alerts for the newsletter. Set it to all. Then become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Become a member and stay a member because I'm always adding checks across the board. And then finally, the newsletter. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. How do you receive your alerts? Maybe you receive them by email. Then look at the title of the email. New LA post at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll say right under there, LA newsletter, and then it'll say click to see the post. You click and go into the post and you're done. But if you're having problems finding the newsletter, send me a private message on Facebook at facebook.com/LALATE news with the news at the end. Send me a private message, and I will send you a video I made that explains the newsletter, how it works, and how you open it. Viewers say, wow, that video is so helpful. It explains everything, and I got the newsletter. And with that, go get it and pounce. The economic data at issue tonight, the feature on Evenings LA, will be very, very fluid. We have a strange week, and it's a week that when you look at the housing market crash, the stock market crash, the recession, there is the core news, there's the interpretation of the news, and then there's that what the world is going on stuff. What do I talk about? Well, this week we saw corporate earnings on the retail market, on the retail space come in. And some people thought they could compare apples to apples every day, and you really can't. They said Nordstrom's is the same as Macy's, and they said Dollar General's the same as Target, and Walmart's the same as Dollar General. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's just too complicated. Then we learned certainly this week that when you look at supply chain disruption, it's much more complicated than we originally thought. This is why Jay Powell has been really not looking good. Why? Because we had numbers released like the CBO, like the Department of Labor in the last 3 days that said Jay Powell has it wrong. He has it wrong. Jay Powell says he's getting inflation down to 2% later this year. Not so, says the Department of Labor. Says it's going to come in at 4%. That's exactly the number I said. Then we had those unemployment numbers come in on Thursday. I said I did not want to see anything over 180,000. I said 200,000 is not good. Guess what happened? It came in at 210. Some analysts said that's a great number. It's not a great number. What's going on here? And then, of course, we had the housing market with the bubble-like talk, where the home builder said, we have a lot of demand, they're just not buying. And the auto sales, which just went over, where the dealers think we can have less cars on the dealership floor. They think they can have less cars on the dealership floor, increase the price, give themselves more margin of profit level, and that you're going to buy. You're not. You're not stupid, and you're not buying at those levels. You're not buying the homes at the higher price levels either. And this is where things are going to hit like a brick. The carnage at issue is really coming very quickly. 90 days out is a number that a lot of people are talking about. I had talked about this, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago. I said 90 days from now, a lot of people are going to be on this channel in what I call a stimulus stampede. Stimulus stampede, I said, is going to be caused by the real changes of the market forces of this economy 90 days out. I said, you know what? You and I know that these changes in this economy starting in March are not sustainable in May. We're now in June. It cannot sustain 90 more days. It cannot. You cannot continue to pay $5 a gallon at the pump. You cannot continue to pay the price of milk. You can't. These things will not sustain 90 days out. Things are going to change. Then we had Walmart saying, we have too many merchants on the floor. We need to start figuring out what situation is going to be at issue. And then we go into live chats, and the people in the live chat saying, my neighbor is getting laid off. I'm going to the stores. Some of the store had 20 store merchants at the register. Now they have none. I'm going into stores, and they had maybe 5 people helping me before. Now they have 1. I see what's going on, and there's no rehiring either. They're being laid off, and they're not being rehired. This is the wind before the storm. The wind before the storm. And this is what I'm talking about with recession for 2023. The recessionary environment for 2023 could be normalized. It could be sort of a smooth progression downward. But there's certain industries that are looking like bubble, looking like ridiculousness. Housing, auto are in a altered universe, and they're going to get hit really badly. Stock market crash of 2022 has actually been sort of normalized. It's been a slow progression down as the gross national product is shrinking and tech shares and companies are not reporting good earnings, so they're adjusting their numbers down. It's not so much panicky. But when that recession hits in 2023, you'll have already seen the wind in 90 days out from now. That is why it's important for you to get those incredible checks across the land. I want to go over some commentary today, which I've not done before. First, I want to go over student loan debt forgiveness, my commentary on that. And then I also want to go over the stimulus checks. I want to start with the stimulus checks. There is I don't know how to say it. There is a universe out there where people are doing 2 things, and they're not you, but they're out there, and I need to advise you about them as I go out of focus. There are 2 types. Oh, I did come back in focus. The 2 things at issue. One is some people are repeating things that they saw happen in 2020 for stimulus. Whatever you saw happen in 2020 or 2021 for stimulus, this is 2022. I mean, who goes around and repeats what happened 2 years ago? Who wears a hairstyle from 2 years ago and says it's still in fashion? Well, there are some people. You can't keep on thinking stimulus that was in fashion 2 years ago is still the stimulus in fashion today. Things are done differently. So when I say go get these checks and people say, you know what, I didn't have to for 2020. It's a different year. Things are different across the board. You know what it reminded me of before I went on camera today? In 2021, we had a lot of viewers who were on SSI and SSDI who IRS said, if you're missing a stimulus check, you need to file a tax return to get it. Do you remember that? And so many people were so angry about that at the time. I don't have to file a tax return. I didn't have to do this for the first stimulus check. Why would I have to do this for the second stimulus check? And viewers would be in the live chat and say, hey, IRS just told you to do it. Go do it. Why do I have to do it? I didn't have to do it last time. Folks, I need you to pivot. I need you to pivot. I don't need you to dance. I don't need you to do a lobster dance. I don't need you to do a pear dance. I just need you to pivot. I need you to understand it's a different year and things need to pivot. Things are being done differently now. This economy has changed so dramatically since March. You feel it, you see it, I report it. You got to pivot and do what's happening right now. You can't hold on to the past and say the past is the way things were done. That's the first thing. The second one is these people. There are some people out there that literally think that everything will just land in their lap. You know what? Good luck with that. Good luck with that, because when I say about carnage 90 days from now, it's going to be, we're going to have to go to the thesaurus and get a bigger synonym for you, because you are running this narrative in your brain that everything will operate the way it did in 2021. Folks, it's not even operating the way it operated in March of this year. This economy is going down very, very quickly, and you need to get every darn check you can get right today. What are you waiting for? Become a member right now and get that membership signed up, and you need to get it. Finally, number 3. What I talked about a little bit early in this video, this sort of attempt by a few random persons here and there to misinterpret this channel. This channel on day 1 was here to get you money, to not report the money, to get you the money. And if you just showed up yesterday, well, God bless you. But that's never what this channel was. Let me give you the best example I can starting right now. This channel launched because millions of Americans had never heard of the EIDL grant, and millions of Americans had never applied for it. So as soon as I pressed record, I said, go get this money. How many of you got an EIDL grant or even knew what it was? I bet a lot of you watching this video today did not even know you qualified for an EIDL grant and should have gotten $10,000. You didn't know you could have gotten and never applied for it because you had not seen this channel at the time. And then a lot of people didn't know that they qualified for multiple EIDL grants. Yes, multiple. I got many people multiple EIDL grants because they qualified for them. That's not reporting the news. There's an EIDL grant out there. Here's what it is. Thank you. News at 11. That's not what I do. I show people why you qualify for 2 or 3 EIDL grants based upon what's going on with you and what you do to go get them. I go through the application. I go through the process. I go through the steps to show you how to get them. It's the same thing right now with stimulus. It's the same thing right now with stimulus. People think there's an automaticness to this. An automaticness for the government to give you $80,000? No. When is the government ever automatically going to give you $80,000 just because? If the government was going to give $80,000 to every single person, then I think we'd have a very different government if we had $80,000 to every single person. There's a reason why this channel exists. You need money. Lots of it, big 4 stimulus checks. And in March, when you said, go give me some big 4 stimulus checks, I did. And we're still getting it to this day. You're getting it because you listen, you learn, and you go out and bounce. And I'm so deeply proud of you for every day that you do this so well. Finally, let's turn to that student loan debt forgiveness. This is an interesting one. You know, some people have different opinions about different things. I'm going to tread this lightly. I haven't thought about this a lot before going on air. But the comments coming from these protest groups today that saying $10,000 is a slap in the face are interesting. They're interesting. They're saying that it should be at least $50,000. Now, there's a lot of problems with these numbers. First, the average student loan debt is $30,000. So they're saying it should be at least $50,000. Well, then that's more than the average. That's sort of a strange way of doing numbers. If the average is $30,000, then why are we doing at least $50,000? That's the first side of the equation. To say that $10,000, which is a third of the average, is a slap in the face, well, then the question is, what is the correct number? Now, let me tell you what the reporting says today. Again, this is not confirmed by the White House. The reporting going out today is the president's floating $10,000 where the individual makes $150,000 less single individual. That's single. That's different than what we talk about for stimulus checks. $150,000 less single individual, $10,000 will be forgiven. Or married couple, $300,000 less, $10,000 will be forgiven. Some groups are angry about that as well. They don't want any qualifiers to it. Okay, there I have an opinion. There I have an opinion. If you are a husband and wife and you are making $300,000 a year and you think $10,000 student loan debt forgiveness is a slap on the face, you're making $300,000 a year. Pay off your student loan debts. I mean, you're making $300,000 a year and you're complaining about a $10,000 gift from the government. The government can say no, and you just pay off your student loan debt. If your average student loan debt is $30,000 and you're making $300,000, that means over 3 years, you're going to make $1 million, or 3.5 years, you're going to make $1 million. And you don't want to pay off $30,000 when you have $1 million in the bank. Yeah, this is where it doesn't taste right in your mouth. It doesn't taste right in your mouth. People who are making over $1 million in 3.5 years are angry that they have to spend $30,000 to pay off their student loan debt. My takeaway is if you're making $1.5 million a year over 3 years as a couple, then I guess that college really worked really well. It must have worked really well. And this is where numbers just don't work. They just don't work. It's like the person who says that I should just get $80,000 from the federal government just because, for stimulus checks, just because. Give me $80,000 just because. It doesn't work that way. There's reasons why people need checks. You need it because you're behind on rent. You need it because you can't pay your medical bills. You need it because the home repairs are so expensive. You need it because you can't purchase the first home. You need it because dental, vision, and hearing. You need it because you need it because of children. You need it because you're senior. You need it because the Medicare age is wrong. That is why the Build Back Better Act is so brilliantly written. It's item after item of where things belong and where they need. Not just, poof, here's $80,000, go buy yourself a Harley, which is, frankly, sometimes the mindset of a lot of people. The reason why the Build Back Better Act makes such beautiful sense is because it's nearly tailored to what is needed to be done. These people need this and these people need that. And ultimately, everyone deserves a stimulus check. Not everyone deserves an $80,000 stimulus check. Not everyone deserves an $80,000 stimulus check. And not everyone deserves $50,000 of student loan debt to be forgiven if you're making $1 million as a married couple over 3 years. It doesn't, that is why I think Joe Biden is having problems with the issue at hand. Finally, my takeaway of the situation, and this is just my opinion, is that Joe Biden has been very well known to have a very large staff of Yale graduates. Yale costs a pretty penny to go to school at. And then when they graduate, well, the people in his staff, they aren't making $20,000. Most of them are probably making mid to high six figures. They're making a lot of money. They went to university, they had a student loan debt, and now they're making a lot of money. And he's looking at them saying, well, you have student loan debts and you're making a lot of money. Pay off your student loan debt. What's the problem here? And the problem sort of stems from the issue of what was the debt and what are you making now? And I think that is why some people in these groups are angry that it's $150,000 or less single individual. That's making them angry as much as the $10,000. Very, very problematic across the board. Ultimately, what's important to understand is that a forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state, and these checks are huge. They're huge. You deserve them. You are on SSI or SSDI. You are low-income households. You are people who are struggling to make ends meet. You are the people that are impacted by the inflationary environment. You are the people that may have lost their jobs or worry that they're going to lose their jobs. You are the people that are worried about the recessionary environment. You are the people that are really in need of stimulus. And that is why when you ask me to find a check, I emotionally take the toll and take the effort and emotionally get invested in your financial independence by looking for those checks. Don't describe me as a guy that's reporting the news. I ain't recording the news except when I'm talking about stocks up, housing down, and auto down. That's when I'm reporting the news. But when it comes to checks, I'm getting you checks. I'm the guy that's going out and getting people checks. And if you don't want to get a check because you want to sit on your chair and read a search engine that's based upon results from 2 years ago, then God bless you. You won't get a check. You really don't deserve one. You don't deserve one. These people that are in the live chat, the members, the viewers of this channel, who do such a valiant job to do everything that is said and done by the executive order that says, we will give you $80,000 if you go do this, and they go and do it and they get the checks. These are the people that are getting these monster checks. And these are the people that will be you if you just found this channel as well. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. And step 3, get that incredible newsletter. Monday through Friday, go down and in there. Go get those huge checks because the carnage is coming. The carnage is coming 90 days out. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, from the shores of the East Coast, from the West Coast to the North Coast, to the South, to the East, I'll be with you all Memorial Day weekend. God bless you. God bless our troops. God bless those who fought for our country and more. The recessionary environment is coming. And yes, with that, surprises of a Check D. A Check D is also now available, and that is the big surprise later in this video. A Check D is available in about 24 plus states. I'm updating the list in the next few days. And that incredible Check D is in the membership newsletter. It's averaging about $2,000 in cases. It's sometimes more. Which states have it? Well, step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. And tonight, join me on America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. It's Evenings LA. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. And join me tonight as Evenings LA heats up at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, stay motivated, and stay with LA for more.